Okay, great. Welcome everyone to another episode of 1 Million Cups Fairfax chapter. We're so glad that you can join us this morning. Please take a moment to check in to our app. For those who are Apple users, you may need to re-download the app and check in. I really appreciate that. That would help us to know that you're here and allows us to grow as a community. And please take a moment to use a chat function to introduce yourselves, your name and your company information. Next slide. All right, so we are the Fairfax chapter of 1 Million Cups. There are over 160 chapters all across the country, and we're about entrepreneurship, community, and education. So you're excited about these three things, you're in the right place. The mission of 1 Million Cups is pretty simple. It is to come together as entrepreneurs and as a community to help each other and to overcome these business challenges that we face. Next slide. Okay, so the way we run our meeting is very different than some of the other ones that you may have attended. It's based on three key pillars that we believe in. We focus on presentations, not pitches. We're also focused on making authentic connections, not networking, and we're run by the volunteers in the community and for the community. Next slide. All right, go back. Our goal is to create a safe and supportive environment where everyone feels welcomed and different ideas are shared with respect to business. And we're radical about being inclusive. And we're all volunteer-led community. What that means is that we need everyone's support, whether you're an organizer, a presenter, or attendee. We come together as a community. Next slide. So we'd like to welcome everyone to join the community. It's a fantastic organization if you're here for the first time. There are many ways you can help the community grow. The first is to attend our weekly meetings every Wednesday morning, which all of you are doing, and thank you for that. Second, participate in the conversation and provide feedback during the presentation segment later in the meeting. And third, engage with us online, share our content on social media. That will help us to get the word out to everyone. And finally, invite your friends and colleagues to help the community grow. Next slide. All right, so these are the organizers of 1 Million Cups Fairfax chapter. These are the folks that work behind the scenes to make the meetings possible. And I'd like to take this time and ask the organizers to introduce themselves. We'll start from the top, starting with Donnell Johns. Just say your name and the company that you're with. Donnell.
I'm Donnell Johns, founder and CEO of Veterans Grow America.
Jen Dalton. I'm the founder of Brand Mirror. I work with CEOs and executives on personal and company branding.
All right, so I don't think Tony is with us, and Mayosha is not here with us as well. So I'm John Yu. I'm with Office
Mayosha's
Evolution.
here.
I'm sorry.
Here.
Hi, good morning. I'm Mayosha Mendis with the T Center.
Okay, I'm John Yu with Office Evolution.
I'm Melinda Sigel, the Sales and Marketing Connection.
John Rutenberg, CCC Solutions. We help you close more sales with less follow-up fatigue.
And I don't think Renata and Marnie are here. My name is Rosemary Sabino. I'm CEO of Gravitate, a business collaboration platform.
All right, thank you, organizers. At this time, I would like to recognize our sponsors. We have two sponsors. One is space sponsor and a coffee sponsor. So Office Evolution is a co-working space located in Tyson's Corner. We are a flexible office space for small businesses. We partner with all business owners, business organizations like 1 Million Cups to help support the business community. And our coffee sponsor for the month of August is DC Fempreneur. Lisa, would you like to say a few words about DC Fempreneur?
Yes, good morning. My name is Lisa Shapiro, and I am the founder and CEO of DC Fempreneur. We provide community and support to professional female entrepreneurs in the nation's capital, both online and in person, by providing networking opportunities, collaboration, continuing education, and helpful resources to help impact member businesses to make them more purposeful and profitable. This month, I'm actually offering a free month to all new Fempreneur Advocate business members, and I will put the information in the chat, but thank you for having me, John.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Next slide. Okay, so before we get into the key segment of our meeting today, I want to walk you through some of the ground rules for our virtual meeting. First, if I can ask everyone to keep your microphone on mute during the presentation. And after the presentation, you'll have the opportunity to provide feedback based on the challenge questions that are presented, and as well as ask questions. Our moderator today is Melinda, and she will help facilitate the discussions. So without further ado, our today's presenter is Larry Rudwick from Risk Analysis Services. Rick, please take it away.
Thank you. I am Larry Rudwick. Before I begin, I've got to mention that there's some construction that has been going on outside my house, and it just began. And if there's a problem hearing me, I could try to use my earbuds and try something else. So let me know if everything is okay. My name is Larry Rudwick, and I'm the founder. I am a co-founder of Risk Analysis Services, which we usually call RAS. RAS's other founder, Alan Cantor, is here with us too. Next slide. My challenge question is, how can RAS best use LinkedIn and other technologies, such as CEO, to grow our funnel of hot prospects? Next slide. RAS created our very powerful IP we call Risk Map, which does risk data analysis. We use historical loss or claims data primarily for casualty claims such as workers' comp and vehicular accidents to forecast how much future losses are likely to be. Doing this helps build a better case for how much insurance premiums should cost. RAS needs a minimum of 4 years of data and at least 10 claims of the same type per year. Clients their previous premiums must be over $100,000 per year, while our sweet spot is over $1 million per year of premiums. Next slide. This is a linear graph illustrating the color codes: black for actual losses, blue showing trend lines for the years having actual data, and then forecasting total losses, in this case for 2 future years. In this example, we had data through 2018, and the light green and dark green show 80% and 95% lower confidence intervals, while the red and dark red show 80% and 95% upper confidence intervals. Next slide. Risk analysis reports. RAS offers 3 basic analyses. Loss development measures the development of losses over time, how the amount paid, reserved, and total incurred changes over time. Loss forecasting, as previously I mentioned, uses historical data to forecast future losses. And risk financing factors discounted cash flow and the value of money into the risk financing decision process to help identify the optimal approach to financing the risk. Next slide. Our story begins with when Alan Cantor graduated from Cornell University and went to Wharton for an MBA, where he learned risk analysis. After graduation, he worked for Marsh McLellan for several years, working with many of the Fortune 50, and then started his own company doing risk analysis for several more years. Alan then created software that was and still is used by hospitals. After that is when I met Alan. Ironically, I also graduated from Cornell and found Alan on the Cornell LinkedIn site. Even more ironic, we were fraternity brothers who never met, as Alan started at Wharton just as I started at Cornell. As luck would have it, after I sold a very successful manufacturing business that I co-founded, I became a certified executive coach. When I met Alan, he was in the process of figuring out what business he wanted to go into next. We became friends, and after I found out about the risk analysis he had been doing, I said, if you ever want to go back into that business, I would love to become your business partner. And we did. In 2016, we figured out that rather than using Excel spreadsheets to do risk analysis, as he had done, we found someone who could follow our imaginations to create an analysis tool that is, quote, on steroids. This is what's been told to us. It took us 3 years and a bunch of money to create RiskMap in the cloud. In 2019, we landed our first major client, and a better client we couldn't have imagined. It's ServPro, who was referred to us by their captive manager. They were and are extremely happy with how RAS helped them, saving them over 15% on their premiums. Besides that, RAS was able to clearly quantify how much money the changes to their operations their risk manager initiated saved them through their litigation management program and continues to save them. In late 2020, we were introduced to a small marketing company that specializes in finding warm leads for their clients. To make a long story short, that didn't work out as we hoped. But it did encourage Alan and me to work together better. And the great news is that Alan came up with 5 really warm leads in the past month from his LinkedIn connections, and 1 found us on our website. And 2 of them have already become good clients. Our goal for the next 12 months is to use our assets and strengths wisely to improve our marketing and sales processes. One asset is that Alan has over 6,000 LinkedIn connections, with a significant percent being possible good prospects related to insurance and risk management. Next slide. So our target market is target customers are relatively small to relatively large insurance brokerage firms, captive management firms, one of which is how we got referred to ServPro from that, insurance consultants, various self-insured identities, and individuals that aren't in the industry, but maybe just happen to know 1 or more people that might be good leads for us, but we don't aggressively pursue that. Next slide. Here's a list of just a small list of some of the clients that Alan has worked with in the past. As you can see, there are a wide variety, and really the most important question is, when looking at prospects, is do they have enough repetitive risk so that we can do our analysis? Next slide. So this was a difficult one, but I think our main competitor is the large insurance brokers, such as Marsh, Aon, Willis, Gallagher. They focus on huge firms, and their prices are very high. RAS has very powerful tools in some cases, perhaps more powerful. In fact, in some cases, we believe definitely more powerful than they have. And so one interesting point is we worked with, when we work with ServPro, they use Aon as their insurance broker. Their Aon's broker, so the large brokerage firms have their own in-house analysis teams. And their Aon's analysis team actually came up with a much higher loss projection than ours did. And ironically, Aon's insurance broker negotiated lower insurance premiums for ServPro using risk analysis. So that was so in some ways, maybe we're not necessarily competitors. We can work together. Next slide. So basically, our main advantages is we dive deeper with data analysis. Our tool that we created over a long period of time has all kind of features that are automated, and it allows us to take, if somebody has, for example, 10 years of data, we can analyze that in many different ways. We can look at all 10 years. We can use the previous 9 years. We can use 9 years from the first year to it's just many iterations. So 10 years can give us close to 30 analyses in one shot, and we can look at it, and it's kind of looking at different slices and seeing which ones are more relevant than the others. And that's what multiple analysis is. Multiple analysis, multiple analysis methods means that we're not only using linear regression, but we're adding additional types of analytical formulas as well. And another advantage that I consider, we consider advantages, we consider ourselves a boutique service. We're not looking to really compete and become big like these big companies. We could do very well, you know, if we had 20, 30 clients, repetitive clients. It just depends on if they can bring us significant amount of business, and some of them can. So we have a high passion, and we really care about our clients, and we have attractive pricing. So what the market is missing, we believe, is just the combination that we have. There's no other firm that's like us. Obviously, we're unique. But as I said, our goal is to be found more frequently, mostly stay under the radar, and be a very successful boutique. Last slide. Once again, our challenge question: how can RAS best use LinkedIn and other technologies to grow our funnel of hot prospects? Thank you.
Great presentation, Larry. You really covered a lot of deep things about your industry and how you are unique and the things that you guys have built. I'm Melinda Sigel, and I am your moderator today. Because I have the slides on the screen as well as everything else, I'd appreciate it if you'd raise your hand or send me a note in chat. I will monitor everything so that I can see you, but I can't see you because the screen is the my challenge question. One question that I want to ask while I'm waiting for some questions to come in or some hands to pop up is, who is the person in an organization that decides they want to engage you guys in conversation and has the authority to purchase your services?
I'm going to actually call on Alan, who's really the guy that could answer that question best. Alan, unmute yourself, Alan.
Okay, yeah, I'll stop having a conversation with myself by unmuting. It varies. In the case of a captive, it might be the president of the captive, or or an organization. It might be the risk manager, or the chief financial officer, or sometimes the president. Some of the in cases with billion-dollar companies, we can help them save a few $1,000,000 a year. Sometimes, and the savings start this year and they resume. They continue. And I've helped companies save as much as $10-15 million. And United Technologies, and years ago, we were able to help them cut their products liability in half virtually. It could be it could be a member of the board who's concerned about the fact that that the losses that the company's having are tying up too much capital. So it could be the CEO, the president, or the risk manager. In terms of a broker, our typical clients at brokers are the people who are responsible for getting the business and keeping the business. The main challenge in the brokers are companies with internal analytics teams is that they may feel threatened by us, but we try to dispel their concerns and help them leverage their capacities.
So one more question on the other question. Do these folks attend events, trade shows? Do they go? Is there any way you can get in front of them and speak at major events in the industries?
I've done that. Yes, but that's a very high cost, speculative thing. Yes, that is a very high.
Okay.
That actually was what Alan used to do when he had his original company. He back in that day, he was got to speak at a very large conference each year, and people would come up to him after the event, and they become clients. It was actually easy in those days, and I think in these days with the pandemic, a lot of the conferences are done virtually. So it's a possibility. It is a possibility.
Jen Dalton, I know you always have a bunch of questions. Would you like to share some of them?
Actually, Lisa Shapiro, if you can go before me, and I'll jump in after you. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so my question is, since your challenge question is specifically about using LinkedIn and other technologies, I wanted to ask if you have done a thorough search of the contacts that you already have through LinkedIn to see if you have maybe secondary or more far removed connections to your ideal client. So if you already know exactly the type of person that your ideal client is, I think Melinda asked a very good pointed question of the person is usually the president, or the person is usually in this role. Have you used your 6,000 LinkedIn connections to see if you have secondary connections or third to those roles in the industry that you're looking to make connections?
I can answer yes and no. We have done it, and we're continuing to do it on a continuous basis. There's just a lot of them. So part of the reason we're here is for people who might have some insight on beyond using Sales Navigator, if there might be some other tools that allow you to zero in on that. All of our with one exception, who came to the website, all of our clients so far have come in through LinkedIn, through my connections.
Including me. Actually, we would like to talk some about, or hear your responses to Sales Navigator. I didn't mention that in the past week or two, I've been researching it, and it seems like it's the way for us to go. It seems really powerful, but I'd like to hear what you guys feel and any guidance you might give us with Sales Navigator.
Sure, I can jump in just for a moment. I know I have to drop off at 9:30, but I guess a broader question, a starting place would be, what is your marketing calendar, your editorial calendar? You have white papers and material that I would start doing on LinkedIn through your company page as sponsored ads before you go to Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator is pretty expensive. So if you're going to be on Sales Navigator, or if you're going to be marketing on LinkedIn, I think it's important to make sure you have a strategy for who are you reaching out to, what content do they want, and how are you going to measure success. LinkedIn can be very powerful. You know, if you get to over 100 followers, you'll move up in search. Right now you're at 40. So I think reaching out to your connections, asking them to follow your page is a good place to start. But I think thinking through what should come from the company page versus your page, Larry, versus Alan, your page, is probably where I would recommend. What's the strategy? What should each of you be sharing? And then you can start to look at, are you doing sponsored ad or posts or content that's really relevant to the decision makers and the people that your platform helps? So just a thought.
Yeah. Well, my understanding was we could get a single seat in Sales Navigator and under Alan's name probably, and it would be like $80 a month. And that's definitely affordable for us. But the money is one thing. The time is more expensive than $80 a month. And so we're trying to figure out more about that. But to answer your question, we have 5 white papers. In fact, our latest white paper is actually about our case study with ServPro, and they are all on our website. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that.
Sean Pastor, you've got a question.
Yeah, I use LinkedIn for, all of my clients is the easiest thing to do. We do digital marketing strategies and everything else over at S2. But one of the problems associated with Navigator that you have to be careful about is it's normally tied into your CRM and not into your main account. So when you're doing chat boxes, you're doing other things, a lot of times that content doesn't go on both sides. So you really have to make sure you're quote unquote navigating it properly. But yeah, there are some easy techniques and ways. And I'm happy to kind of show you guys on a Zoom call how to do that, whether collectively as a group or, and I'll throw my contact inside of the chat box as well. No, I think LinkedIn's the right way to go, especially when you're trying to be under the radar, as you stipulated. Mm-hmm. It's kind of tough to have both things at the same time: great reach and under the radar. I found those a very interesting combination of thoughts and ideas. That sweet spot is obviously really good for you, and utilizing ServPro as a connection point into a lot of other businesses similar scope and size is important and relevant, and I can help you kind of navigate that world. So I'll shoot my stuff in there. Feel free to give me a call. We'll set up a time next week to potentially do that, or I could do it, like I said, on the MillionCups as well.
Thank you so much. Yep. I was just going to say, my prior business, I was manufacturing wheelchair parts and accessories. And that was the strategy I used to stay out of the radar. We had an annual trade show, and I would never take a booth. And until 18 years later, when I was ready to sell the business, then we took big booth out. Anyway, yep. That's a little side note.
Gotcha.
Looking for more hands, but I've got another question I can throw out.
John Rittenberg has a hand up.
Oh, okay. I didn't. Thank you. John, go ahead.
Thank you. And Larry, great to meet you eyeball to eyeball, so to speak. Absolutely. Thanks so much to both of you guys. So there was an earlier slide that showed Boy Scouts of America, the LA Archdiocese, among other prior companies. And with LinkedIn being, your contacts being so vast and time being of the essence and limited, and you're really, as you said, looking for 20 to 30 new customers, I would narrow your search and I'd look at the archdiocese in other parts of the country. I'd look at Girl Scouts of America. I'd look at the school systems and other high-risk places, summer camps where kids are at risk of falling in a lake or a pool. And very narrowly go after those organizations where you've already got a track record. So I saw Ryder Trucks. There's any number of truck rental companies out there. It's much easier to tell the story when you can back it up with real experience. And rather than fight through 6,000 contacts, I'd look at 100 that really emulate your past experience and go talk to those people. Those are my thoughts.
Those are excellent thoughts. It's always good to have a really great way of introducing yourself. Hey, I worked with your company two decades ago or whatever, even.
Well, if you work with the Archdiocese of LA, other archdioceses could have the same risk exposure. And by speaking to the right people in the DC Archdiocese, for example, might prove fruitful. They must have the same risk exposure.
Excellent point.
The other point on that one is that you can go back to your customers. You had a really strong customer list and ask them if they know of any other businesses that might be interested that they know of, and or ask them what organizations they belong to and if you can be a speaker for any of these organizations.
Mm-hmm.
And if they wouldn't mind, after they introduce you as a speaker, maybe they will even do a testimonial to introduce you at the Zoom meeting or the live meeting, and that'll even make it stronger.
Good idea.
I've asked anybody with questions to just let me know in the chat because I don't have the screen that shows it. Some of the hands go up, but they're not going up right now.
Rosemary, I was going to say, I clicked on the participants thing and I'm able to see about 10, 12 people on my right side of my screen. I don't know if you could do that possibly.
Not when you're the host.
In this momentary pause, I would say any company that has sales in the several $100 million and up range can benefit directly from us, even if they have all these other consultants. And the thing that we offer is we'll take a look at your data, and if we think we can help, we'll let you know. And when I say, well, if we think we can help, then it means we might be able to help you save a few, anywhere from 15 to 20% on your insurance and reinsurance, or help you find your optimal retention. So I'm historically, my success has been focused in areas where they get it. We're looking for a few dozen needles in haystacks, and a customer who I helped earlier this week told me, "You're my secret weapon." You know, I was telling him I'm starting to get busy, as we were. We're starting to get a flood of projects, and he was saying, "You're my secret weapon." So we're looking for very. It's a very particular set of. I don't know how many of you have seen Taken, with Liam Neeson. He has a particular set of skills, in terms of protecting himself and doing good and bad things to people. I have a particular set of skills, which is in doing data analytics in a manner that is rare. So if that prompts anyone to share some very tight relationship with some high-level folks at some big companies. If we can, we'd like to compensate you for it.
What about going back to where you both went to college and, at, and also the MBA, the alumni groups, and maybe seeing if there are other fraternity brothers, go into the alumni kind of circuit. The other thought along that line too is National Association of Chain Drugstores puts on a big event every year. I know they're going to be coming back. So does FMI, Food Marketing Institute. The C-suites of a lot of these organizations come to these shows, and you could network with them. The other thing is, if you contact them, they may be able to get you out to the appropriate people, or you can offer a package to their members at a special introductory rate or something. First month free with a 1-year contract. I don't know. I don't want to be too gimmicky because it's not appropriate, but
yeah, we don't offer our analytics. It's a high level product. And I'm not going to do anything for free.
Okay, but what about your alumni groups? And
Oh yeah, we've been working on them, but that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. But so sharing on the alumni groups in LinkedIn. Is that what you're talking about as well as the alumni
Yes.
associations?
Oh yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
yeah. I belong to like 65 groups, including about 8 or 10 through my Cornell and Wharton alum. So yes, that is an excellent point, and further pursuing that is a very sensible. You're absolutely right. It's a very sensible and appropriate way to go.
One of the things I wanted to add is Alan and I have very complementary skills. Not to say that we complement each other all the time, but we do some things for free. Alan we do some things for free. And and Alan knows that you probably forgot.
Okay. Tim Biddle has a question. You're muted, Tim.
Sorry about that. Hello, I'm new to the group. I was just wondering, why have you guys considered approaching these gigantic companies who are, already in with big companies and collaborating with them, giving them a tool that they don't already have that will make their value add more attractive to some of their existing clients, and, getting good with them, and they'll just keep bringing you into deals?
We do, and we've tried, and it's always just our broker does that. Don't bother me. So it's networking. It's the times where that's happened is where we have a relationship with someone at a high level through a mutual contact. So what we're looking for is high level intros from people who are known and trusted.
Okay.
Do you have a broker sales organization or just a couple brokers that work with you?
They're not directly an owner or employee of our company, but we have very close contact that has his own one-person brokerage firm, and he has been very helpful to us, and he helps us write white papers, for example, and he's going after the trucking industry. And he's actually promoted Risk Map as his quote unquote secret weapon, but it's not totally secret. So he's just starting to get thousands of emails out, and he's starting to follow up. So he's someone that's actually working as a win-win, so he can get insurance business, and he's using us as his almost secret weapon.
Right. This is a colleague of a friend of mine from Wharton, whom I've known for like 8 or 10 years. But apropos that, and while we have this group, just this past Monday, among my contacts in LinkedIn is a broker in Phoenix whom we've been talking on and off for the last number of years, but I called them on Monday and told them what the situation is right now. Have you completed this technology that he said I may have a project, but it's an August 13th renewal. And this was 13 days, or it was an August 10th renewal. This was 13 days ahead. And we've completed that project. I did it in 3 days, and he's got 3 or 4 others. So if any of you have insurance with anybody, your broker may be the best direct connect, and your broker will thank you for introducing us to him, because we may be able to help him make more money and compete on a level playing field with the outfit houses. We're like a contract analytics team for people who can't afford the few $1 million to invest and develop their own internal analytics teams, as the major outfit house brokers do.
What about going to an association that a lot of these brokers belong to and being able to offer a white paper or be a speaker for a Zoom call and get your faces in front of these people directly? Because the problem with LinkedIn is it's not as personal. You don't see the person's face. It's online. You may do a Zoom call with them, but it's not the same thing. And there are some trade associations that you could probably go to that would get you in front of their whole membership, and you would be being close to or one step away from they know somebody.
Yeah, we are doing some of that. We are doing some of that. Again, that's where you're in a pot with a lot of people, and it's not what I would call an intimate face-to-face relationship where you're in a large group. The best way is one-on-one with a personal connection, personal introduction. One-on-one with personal introduction creates slam dunks.
One thing about Alan, he's an excellent schmoozer. And when I went to a big trade show with him 10 years ago, I was just totally floored how he could just walk up to anybody and start a conversation. And he does that. And now he's learning that he's not learning well. He's finally picking up the phone, and he's got a list of about 150 brokers from LinkedIn that he's going down the list. And that's he got partway down the list, and this is where he came up with five hot prospects. So anyway, that's just something that happened.
John Norris, did you have a question?
No, I put a note in the chat. That was it right now.
Okay.
Melinda, it's John Rittenberg again.
Yeah, please.
So I wanted to go back and challenge you guys a little bit on narrowing down. I've heard brokers are very relevant. That makes sense. That's narrowing down. I don't know what your experience was with Boy Scouts of America, for example, but if it's relevant to this, there's Girl Scouts of America. Then it's just a matter of researching and finding the colleague, or if it's a current Boy Scouts of America experience, someone, you should be able to easily find his or her counterpart at the next organization. And then I'd look at the major Hellenic, I think that's the right word, the Greek sorority and fraternity systems at the national level, where the exposure for insurance must be high and the budgets are tight. I would pick 4 or 5 specific areas. And again, Penske owns a truck rental company. You've already been to Ryder. You got to figure out who's at Penske. And the message, in 2 sentences, you have to describe the benefit, which I'm sure you were aware of. And I would, as you're doing with brokers, go very narrow. you're not looking for thousands of consumers to buy your product. You're looking for 30 new customers. It's a much narrower approach I would recommend, especially since there's only 2 of you, even if there's someone else we don't know about.
There might be, but I don't know about them either.
Have you gone back to your fraternity? There may be other folks like you, or they may know folks.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I mean, you guys met through the fraternity
Mhm.
indirectly, but it sounds like that there were a lot of people in your fraternity that were with the same majors, and that may be a way to reach some more people in your industry.
Yep.
It's all about following the networks and building relationships.
Yeah.
There is.
Because my experience is as people become comfortable with us, they throw us work. And we save them money. So it's if the data won't support the what I think would be a outstanding outcome, I'll tell them, you know, you're lucky to have insurance.
Yep.
The thing that we can do is we can very quickly take a preliminary review of something within 24 to 48 hours and let them know if it makes sense to go further. So
Are you guys in this area?
I'm in California, so I'm still sleeping. I'm somnambulating.
The reason why I'm asking the question, in the Metro DC, we have a board of trade, and a lot of the types of folks like you go to the board of trade. The other group is the Washington DC chamber. When they had big events, that's when the CFOs and the CMOs came out to the big events in the community. And there may be groups like that where you all live.
Right. There's also national Ivy groups and local Ivy groups, to which I'm a member, But yeah, you're describing other situations where you might be able to meet people, develop a rapport, and take it from there.
Mhm. Tim, you've got a question, comment?
Yeah, I just had one more question for you guys. I mean, have you considered reaching out to journalists that are writing for publications that your target audience might be looking at and asking them to quote you, or, you know?
We're on the verge of publishing for an article in collaboration with others. Yes, you're absolutely, that's there's a pro and con of that. If you want to stay under the radar, that's
Well, I was
not
going
the
to
best
say,
way
it's
to
not
do it.
exactly staying under the radar, but it will get your name out there.
Right. You're right. It's using the that's using the sharpshooter. If you want to try to get very narrowly focused to the specific target market and use a sharpshooter as opposed to buckshot. So yes, your point is excellent. And the first joint article published with a collaborator in a captive insurance company publication is coming out in the next, I understand, couple of weeks. That's it. You know, your mind is on the right wavelength, Tim. Thank you.
Actually, I think my comment about staying under the radar, I think it was exaggerated. I realized I did that in my first business because I was the only company that was competing for wheelchair parts and accessories, and I was totally paranoid that in that. But this is different situation. There's a lot, you know. We're not the only one that's doing data analytics, and so I don't want to. I want to de-emphasize the staying under the radar part. We're not. It's not. Okay, that's what I want to say.
Well, we have a last question for you. Donnell Johns, are you around to ask the last question?
If I can get my camera on, yes, I am.
There you are.
So thank you so much for being a presenter at 1 Million Cups. we are, it's a trip because we get the same question, that comes up. How do we reach more people, using technology? And it's definitely hard in today's world to be able to try to find the right people and share, our gifts with them. So I'm glad that you came to 1 Million Cups, to get that answer, and hopefully you got the answer that you needed. My question to you is what can we do for you? How can we support you?
Introduce us to your insurance broker.
And well, that's one thing, but just keep thinking about us, and we'd like to have a continuing dialogue. If anyone has any information, we'll put our emails out and let you know how you can contact us. And I guess this whole thing is recorded, so we'll be able to hear, and I'll be able to actually concentrate on it. I'd probably need to listen to it a few times and take notes. I normally take notes. I didn't because it's being recorded. I also want to say before we go, I have a tremendous shout out for Rosemarie. She has been a godsend helping me plan out this presentation. Thank you so much. And I think I probably gave her a few heart attacks because I started very late. And I think she probably thought maybe I'm not going to get it done. But
I had every confidence, Larry. You did a great job. You and Alan are awesome.
Thank you.
You're very sweet.
Sure.
I'm actually happy to be up before my normal waking time. So you've achieved the impossible.
So Alan, I lived in California for 8 months, and every Monday morning at 6 a.m. I was on the volunteers meeting, and Wednesday mornings at 6 a.m. I was on the Million Cups meeting. So I empathize. And so the best way to get us working for you is to show up every Wednesday and be participants with us. Otherwise, all of us are out of sight, out of mind. It's nobody's fault. It's just the harsh reality. Somebody else is bugging us. And truly, we invite you to be a regular every Wednesday. It's the best way to, as you said earlier, to build relationships and make things happen. And, I'm sure Rosemarie will be back at you asking you to come and update us in 90 days anyway. But come every Wednesday. You'll build relationships, and that will result in referrals.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
You bet.
Right. So this is, I think, where I take over. Again, Alan and Larry, thanks for your presentation. And thank you everyone for a highly productive and engaging meeting this morning. We have an awesome line of presenters in the month of August. Green Fair Organic Cafe is next week, followed by DW Consulting and Guest Chat. And we also have a bunch of applicants that are currently under review to be slotted in for September on, but we're always looking for more presenters. So if you have a business that you are facing a business challenge, or you know someone, please consider presenting. Reach out to one of our organizers, or go to 1 Million Cups Fairfax website to apply. All right, next slide.
One last shout out. I want to thank John Foster for inviting me to this. I've known John for a number of years, and this was when he introduced me or suggested that I come here. I just thought this is like perfect. Thank you.
Fantastic. John. Yeah, that's what we're all about. I'd like to take a moment to welcome or introduce our brand ambassadors. These are the folks that also work behind the scene and get the word out to our community about our fantastic group. If you are here, I'd like to ask you to just quickly introduce yourself, your name, and the business that you're with. I didn't see Dan nor Grisham, but John, if you can quickly introduce yourself, please.
Sure, John. I'm actually here representing Green Fair Organic Cafe, and Gwen will be presenting next week. And yeah, along with I do some other things as well, but Green Fair is who I'm here representing.
Thanks, John. Sarah? All right, Sarah, unmute. Okay, maybe she left. And yeah, and Reggie Holmes. So these are the fantastic group of individuals who are our brand ambassadors. If you're interested in serving the business entrepreneur community, consider being a brand ambassador for our 1 Million Cups chapter. You get a ton of visibility as well as you working with a fantastic group. All right, next slide. Okay, these are some of the list of activities or events that are coming up locally. I would encourage you to check these out. I won't go through them individually, but you can look through them and to see if there's something that might of interest to you. All right, so we want to thank you again. As you know, entrepreneurship is a journey, and during that journey, you'll face many challenges, and you don't need to take that journey by yourself. You can always take advantage of the local organizations like 1 Million Cups to offer free resources to help you go through that journey. Next slide. All right, so we're at the end of our meeting this morning. I want to thank you again for joining us. Please join us next week, same time, same channel. And thank you for the Kaufman Foundation for supporting 1 Million Cups. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Have a great week.
Yeah.
Bye.